of COVID crime unit. All right. And on COVID crime unit, what we're going to talk about is people who are involved in crimes related to COVID. Believe it or not, that is actually a thing. During the COVID pandemic, there were people who were able to take advantage of large amounts of money in the form of grants, earmarked money, business loans, PPE loans, and all different kinds of financial tools that the government made available to help small business owners as well as certain populations maintain their economic standards, maintain their economic stance, and to try to assist them with keeping their business open, because we all know that during the C19 pandemic, the economy was extremely slowed down related to the lockdowns. All right. So what's going on now? Well, what's going on now is that now there is a reexamination of all of that money that has been going out, and there's people going to jail and getting in trouble, getting charged for misappropriation, for extortion, for theft, for fraud, left and right. Left and right. All right. So we're going to look at some. All right. And what we're going to look at is this story right here. All right. This is a story from NBC, and they're talking about a pastor and his family. All right. And this pastor and his family, they stole $8 million from taxpayers in a COVID scam, according to the feds. And they haven't been charged yet. Imagine that. Shout out to Tammy Dorsey. What's going on with it, Tammy? Good to see you as always. So this is interesting. My question is, anybody that's watching right now, have you guys heard about this story? If you guys heard about this, give me a 1 in the comment section and let me know what you know. And if you have not heard about this story, give me a 2. All right. So let's see what they're talking about here, because they have a little video up and I'm curious.
The pandemic hit, Canadian Joshua Edwards asked the U.S. government to help his family's ministry stay afloat. He said they needed $6 million to keep paying more than 450 employees, according to court records, with the operation run out of this Florida office building. The government approved the PPP loan, even adding another $2 million, making it 8 in total. But here's the problem. The only employees were the Edwards family, 4 of them, and Canadian records show the ministry's monthly income was just $5,500. The application was a total fabrication, signed off.
That doesn't sound very Christ-like. Shouts out to my man Cameron Jones in the building. What up with it, bro? Does that sound Christ-like to you guys? If that sounds Christ-like to you, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If it doesn't sound Christ-like, give me a thumbs down. This is naughty, 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 naughty people. This was these religious folks to do.
By an 88-year-old accountant in Canada suffering from dementia, as per court documents. Warren Smith is the president of Ministry Watch, an evangelical watchdog.
Man, they even got an accountant that was senile. They found an accountant who was suffering from dementia to sign off on this $6 million loan that was supposed to be spread across 450 people, when actually it was about to be spread across 4. What do you guys think about this so far? This is deviant.
So how didn't it flip a switch somewhere in the government when they saw this application?
Well, it should have. This would have been easy. If you just did a couple of Google searches on this, the bank would have known that there was nothing there.
This money was supposed to go to businesses that were keeping people employed. And here you have this ministry taking advantage of that, allegedly.
Yeah. Well, this kind of fraud is just absolutely reprehensible because there was a limit to those funds.
So my question is, do you guys think that they did this in the name of God? If you guys feel that they did this in the name of God, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you don't feel that they did this in the name of God, then let me know whose name that they did it in. Did the devil make them do it? How'd this happen? How'd these good church-going people get mixed up in this madness?
Instead of funding a ministry set up to help the poor, the family put a down payment on this $3 million house in a gated community, blocks from Disney World. Within months, federal agents started asking questions. It was September 2020, and Secret Service agents came to this home where the Edwards family was living. They wanted to know what they were doing with millions of dollars in taxpayer money. But when they got here, no one was home, the cars were gone, and the house was cleared out. The Secret Service quickly asked Florida Highway Patrol to pull them over. Police were waiting on this highway on-ramp for the Edwards as they headed north. When they stopped them, the father said that they were on their way to a conference in Texas, but he couldn't provide any details. And according to the authorities, in the back seat, there was a paper shredder the family bought the week before and garbage bags filled with shredded documents. Federal agents seized the $8 million and briefly took them into custody for an immigration charge that was later dismissed. The next day, they were let go. And almost 20 months later, no more criminal charges. The Edwards still own their house.
So I mean, they just basically let these people get away with this. I want you guys to see this. Not only did they let these people get away with this, but they did a whole news documentary expose showing that they got away with this. Does anybody see a problem with this? Tammy says they did it in the name of their God, money. Yeah, facts. Or also you can say they did it in the name of their God, self. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly the only thing that they worship is themselves and their own needs.
So we knocked on the door. No one answered, but neighbors told NBC they still live there. We reached out to the Secret Service and they said the investigation is ongoing and they can't provide any more information. The U.S. attorney in Florida would not comment. Alex Little is a former federal prosecutor.
If I go into a bank and I steal $3 million and the police show up at my door and I say, "Oh, I'm so sorry I robbed that bank. Here's your $3 million back." Don't I get arrested?
You'd absolutely get arrested. And I think we can expect and should expect the federal government to take the same steps.
Why hasn't there?
So my question then is, why haven't they gotten arrested? Because that's the kicker behind all of this. I want you guys to understand this. They stole $6 million. No one's been arrested. No one's been arrested. Tammy says that's because they are white people. That's why they were let go. It's the only thing that I can think of. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down and let me know why.
Arrested?
You'd absolutely get arrested. And I think we can expect and should expect the federal government to take the same steps.
Why hasn't there been an arrest?
It's a great question. And it should be the sort of case that federal prosecutors are interested in and ultimately end up prosecuting.
Just last year, the family...
Notice how that guy didn't answer that woman's question. The woman said, how come no one's gotten arrested? And his response was, well, the feds should be interested in this kind of case. Shouts out to my man, RG Titan. What up with it, bro? This is wild. This is wild indeed.
Released new videos asking for donations, but quickly took them down.
So these people have videos on YouTube asking for more donations. Can you guys believe that? They got videos on YouTube asking for more donations after they already about to get in trouble because of what they have going on right here. Man, that's wild. That's wild. So shouts out to everybody that's in the room. We got 6 people in here. If everybody smashes that like button, we will have a total of 11 likes. So please smash that like button. Help your boy out. Remember, we have that goal trying to get to that 100 likes every video. Now, my question is, for a while, there wasn't really many people in here. Who saw this entire video all the way through? Because before I dive into the article, I want to make sure that everybody has the background on this because we're going to ask some questions. So if you were in here in the beginning and you saw this all the way through, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you didn't and you want me to run the video again uninterrupted, give me a give me a radiations emoji. Shouts out to my man AB Promotion. What up with it? So do you guys want me to run this again? Because I want you guys to understand the full context. Now that we got about 6 people in here, I want everybody to watch this video. I want you guys to see exactly what's going on. Okay, AB Promotions throwing up the radiation emoji. All right, that's what's up. Let's check this out.
His word is his will.
When the pandemic hit, Canadian Joshua Edwards asked the U.S. government to help his family's ministry stay afloat. He said they needed $6 million to keep paying.
Now, I didn't even catch that at the beginning. This guy is a Canadian. And he asked the U.S. government for this $6 million, and they gave it to him. I didn't even catch that in the beginning. Since when does the United States give Canadians $6 million? When does that happen? Have you guys ever heard anything like that?
His word is his will.
When the pandemic hit, Canadian Joshua Edwards asked the U.S. government to help his family's ministry stay afloat. He said they needed $6 million to keep paying more than 450 employees, according to court records, with the operation run out of this Florida office building. The government approved the PPP loan, even adding another $2 million, making it $8 million in total. But here's the problem. The only employees were the Edwards family, 4 of them. And Canadian records show the ministry's monthly income was just $5,500. The application was a total fabrication, signed off by an 88-year-old accountant in Canada suffering from dementia, as per court documents. Warren Smith is the president of Ministry Watch, an evangelical watchdog. So how didn't it flip a switch somewhere in the government when they saw this application?
Well, it should have. This would have been easy. If you just did a couple of Google searches on this, the bank would have known that there was nothing there.
This money was supposed to go to businesses that were keeping people employed. And here you have this ministry taking advantage of that, allegedly.
Now, here's my question for everybody. Have you guys heard of this case? If you guys heard of this case, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you've never heard of this, give me a thumbs down.
Yeah. Well, this kind of fraud is just absolutely reprehensible because there was a limit to those funds.
Instead of funding a ministry set up to help the poor, the family put a down payment on this $3 million house in a gated community, blocks from Disney World. Within months, federal agents started asking questions. It was September 2020, and Secret Service agents came to this home where the Edwards family was living. They wanted to know what they were doing with millions of dollars in taxpayer money. But when they got here, no one was home, the cars were gone, and the house was cleared out. The Secret Service quickly asked Florida Highway Patrol to pull them over. Police were waiting on this highway on-ramp for the Edwards as they headed north. When they stopped them, the father said that they were on their way to a conference in Texas, but he couldn't provide any details. And according to the authorities, in the back seat, there was a paper shredder the family bought the week before and garbage bags filled with shredded documents. Federal agents seized the $8 million and briefly took them into custody for an immigration charge that was later dismissed. The next day, they were let go. And almost 20 months later, no more criminal charges. The Edwards still own their
$6 million. No criminal charges. You would think that this would be front page news. You would think. My question to you guys is, why is this not front page news? $6 million. Blatant fraud. Lying on the application. Tammy says she believes someone on the inside or the feds or the government is helping them. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Man, I'll tell you what, they must have really been laxed. I'll tell you that. $6 million. And it seems like they've been kind of on and off of these people's tails. So they know exactly what's going on. They know that there's an issue. Just not going to do anything about it. Because we're just not going to do anything about it.
their house. So we knocked on the door. No one answered, but neighbors told NBC they still live there. We reached out to the Secret Service and they said the investigation is ongoing and they can't provide any more information. The U.S. attorney in Florida would not comment. Alex Little is a former federal prosecutor.
If I go into a bank and I steal $3 million and the police show up at my door and I say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry I robbed that bank. Here's your $3 million back." Don't I get arrested?
You'd absolutely get arrested. And I think we can expect and should expect the federal government to take the same steps.
Why hasn't there been an arrest?
It's a great question. And it should be the sort of case that federal prosecutors are interested in and ultimately end up prosecuting.
Just last year, the family released new videos asking for donations, but quickly took them down. Stephanie Goff.
And they got the nerve, man. They've got the nerve to ask for more donations. What'd you do with all that other money? What'd you do with all that $6 million? I mean, you didn't get arrested. Shit. You spend all that damn money. I bet you they did spend it all. They probably spent it all on that house. For real, for real. They probably spent all that money on that damn house. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says federal agents in Florida have been seeking to question Evan Edwards, a pastor, and his family for days when their Mercedes SUV was spotted speeding on I-75 north of Gainesville. The Edwards were Christian missionaries from Canada who lived in Turkey for many years and moved to Florida of 2019. So they broke bad. These people just decided to break bad. On paper, they ran a faith-based charity with a high-minded mission to communicate Christian love and doctrine and service to the poor, when in reality, they sitting up there trying to get some COVID money so that they asses don't be poor. And they'd probably be the type of people to tell me not to swear so much. Oh, don't you cuss so much. It's not what the Lord would want. Well, the Lord wouldn't want you stealing $6 million. You know what I'm saying? The Lord would have something to say about that. Can I get an amen? Sunday. You know what I'm saying? But by the fall of 2020, the family of four, dad, Evan, mom, Mary Jane. So the mom is named Mary Jane, so that's a red flag. Evan was in love with Mary Jane. And the daughter's name is Joy. I wonder if her first name is Lemon. And the son's name is Josh. They were suspected of pulling off a multi-million-dollar fraud that targeted the government's COVID relief program for small businesses and nonprofits. While you got white people in Oregon blocking the COVID legislation for black people out there, specifically targeted attacks, just angry white people attempting to block COVID funding that was specifically earmarked for black people because they're just angry. These people are running off with a cool $6 million. That $6 million is so cool, it feels like menthol. You can sprinkle some of that $6 million in a regular cigarette, and that bad boy will smoke like a Newport, I bet. You know what I'm saying? So check this out. The Edwards received more than $8 million after Josh filed paperwork falsely claiming that the ministry, ASLAN International, had 486 employees and a monthly payroll of $2.7 million, according to a federal forfeiture complaint. So they lied blatantly. They lied blatantly. You know what I'm saying? We got somebody over on Facebook, and you guys make sure that you guys hit that description box so that you can find the Facebook page and the group. Shouts out to the Facebook user. Cameron says Washington State also Latinos and Asian blocked black business funds. Yeah. Yep. That they New York Times wrote an article about that. People of Color Coalition. Yeah. Just not our color. You know what I'm saying? There's a People of Color Coalition, all right. And it's people that aren't our color with a coalition, you know what I'm saying, against us. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, people want to live in delusion and act like, you know what I'm saying, we're the world's most popular and loved people. Keep acting like it. Keep acting like it. A federal investigation raised serious red flags. Among them, the accountant who purportedly signed off on the loan allegedly had dementia and hadn't done any work for the organization since 2017. So how did they find this accountant with dementia is my question. Shout out to my man, DJ Elmo. What up with it, bro? How did they find this accountant with dementia? Somebody make that make sense. Somebody make that make sense. So now here it says just after 8:49 p.m. on September 17th of 2020, the Edwards' beige Mercedes was being pulled over by 3 Florida Highway Patrol cars. All 4 Florida family members were inside the vehicle. Evan Edwards told the officers they were headed to a conference in Texas, but could not provide any specifics, according to the complaint. So this dude told the police, I can't tell you everything. How's that work? How does that work? He told the police, well, I can't tell you everything, I can't tell you everything. You know what I mean? Right, Cameron. Why would you even tell them that? So check this out. Federal agents arrived on the scene and began searching the 2020 Mercedes. What they found indicated that this was not a typical road trip. Edwards, seated in the front passenger seat, had a laser printer on his lap. This motherfucker had a laser printer on his lap in the car. In a rear passenger seat next to his wife and daughter were 2 clear garbage bags full of shredded documents, according to the complaint. So shit, they had a laser printer in his lap and some shredded documents in some garbage bags in the back. If that doesn't spell something shady is going on, I don't know what does. I don't know what does. So now here it says the family's personal electronic devices were stuffed into a so-called Faraday bag, which blocks radio frequencies to keep from being tracked, the complaint says. Man, they had this all planned out. The family's electronic devices were stuffed into a Faraday bag, which blocks radio frequencies to keep from being tracked, the complaint says. They had this all ready. Man, they was ready to go. They were ready. So now here it says there were also suitcases full of financial records, 2 other Faraday bags with laptops and tablets inside. They had 2 other Faraday bags with laptops and tablets inside. They had a shredder. They had multiple backpacks containing external hard drives, USBs, according to the complaint. They were getting ready to torch the evidence. Yeah. Planning to skip town. That's a fact. If you guys agree with AB Promotions, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. They were getting ready to not only skip town, but they were getting ready to torch any kind of paper evidence that there was. So now here it says other electric documents located in the search include a 49-page research manual published by the Bureau of Justice relating to tracing money that flows through financial institutions, the federal complaint said. So basically they had a manual on how to launder money. They basically had the how to launder money handbook right there with them. So now here it says the U.S. government's rush to distribute aid money during the pandemic created a bonanza for fraudsters at home and abroad. Since 2020, the Justice Department has prosecuted more than 177 people for allegedly defrauding the Paycheck Protection Program. See? Isn't that what I just said? People been running up in the government, stealing all this money. You know what I'm saying? A federal judge in Florida ultimately ordered the forfeiture of the $8 million the Edwards family had received after the government claimed it was the proceeds from a bank fraud and money laundering offenses. But more than 18 months after the Florida traffic stop, authorities have yet to charge any member of the Edwards family with a crime. Now, how does all of that happen? How do you get caught with all of that and you don't get charged a crime? That's what I want to know. There's nothing to see here, folks. You can go ahead about your business because there's nothing to see here. Really? There's really nothing to see here, folks. For real? Real shit. There's nothing to see. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 7 live viewers. Shouts out to everybody that's watching. You guys are awesome. If everybody smashes that like button, we'll have 14. Cameron says the program was deliberately written to allow fraud so large corporations could get away with the bag. Sounds about right. You guys agree with that? You guys know what to do. If you agree, throw up a thumbs up or drop a radiation emoji. If you don't agree, throw a thumbs down or an angry face. So now here it says the inaction is especially curious given that other suspected COVID relief fraudsters have been hit with criminal charges despite being accused of far less money. I haven't heard of anybody stealing $8 million from the programs until today. I've heard of far less amounts. At the time when I was listening to those videos and reading those articles about the amounts that were less, I thought those amounts were a lot. People have been stealing $600,000, $700,000, amounts like that. This is kind of crazy. So now here it says a Vernon man, for instance, was arrested and charged after he fraudulently obtained $55,000 in loans. A Georgia man was sentenced to 3 years in prison after he was convicted of fraudulently filing for $2.6 million in the Paycheck Protection Program. I would imagine an $8 million PPP fraud case is one that you would want to bring quickly. Alex Little, former federal prosecutor who now practices law in Nashville, Tennessee, said, referring to the Edwards' case, I don't understand why they haven't been indicted. So I want to get you guys' opinion. This lawyer here claims to not understand why these people haven't been indicted. I want to ask you guys, why do you all feel that these people have not been indicted? Why haven't these people been brought up on charges? So now here it says a spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida emailed NBC News that the office declined to comment. Roy Dotson, the National Pandemic Fraud Recovery Coordinator for the U.S. Secret Service, which led the investment, said, due to the fact that this is an ongoing investigation, the Secret Service cannot provide any additional information related to this case. The Edwards family did not respond to the emails or messages sent through social media, but no one answered the door at their home in New Smyrna, Florida. The scam and its unraveling stunned their neighbors as well as members of the Evans-Edwards extended family. We don't know what he's been up to, said Alan Herringer, a cousin who said he last spoke to Evan in 2017. We're interested to hear the full story. It's just totally out of character for a man of God, supposedly. Yeah, supposedly it's right. Supposedly is definitely the right answer. So now here it says one neighbor put it more bluntly. This guy needs to be in jail. You guys feel that this guy needs to be in jail? If you guys feel he needs to be in jail, give me a thumbs up. If you, he don't need to be in jail. Give me a thumbs down. So now here it says he stole money during the pandemic. He stole it in the name of God. That makes you the worst scuzz on the face of the earth. Well, then now you have to question the people who created the United States because they did the things that they did in the name of God. So now you got to look at that. So now they're talking about that time when they went to Turkey, okay? And they're saying that it was a turbulent time. The man now known as Evan Edwards grew up in Edmonton, one of 3 boys in a family that wasn't religious, according to his cousin. He was born Ian Herringa, but changed his name after a turbulent period in Turkey where his proselytizing made him the target of harassment. His devotion to Christianity in his late teens or early 20s when a girlfriend introduced him to a church in the area. It wasn't long before Edward's father stopped sending him money because he was giving all of it to the church, his cousin said. Edward went on to marry Mary Jane, a Filipino immigrant. The couple moved to Turkey, predominantly Muslim country, in the late 1980s after the birth of their 2 children. We knew we wanted to preach the gospel where it was not preached, Evan Edwards said in a 2008 radio interview. He worked with the Christian mission group, Operation Mobilization, and later founded ACELAN, International Ministry, which he has said was named after the Turkish word for lion. Now, what do you guys think about this? In my opinion, all this is just a slight bit shady. This is all just a slight bit shady. You know what I'm saying? Edwards has claimed his organization distributed more than 500,000 copies of the New Testament in Turkey. In the process, he said, he became a target of local authorities. I've been arrested and harassed by the police and military in Turkey over 50 times, he said in a 2012 interview with the Christian Post. I got attacked on the street and beat up, he added. I have jumped over fences, slipped out of side doors, and hid in the most unusual of places. Opposition came in the form of having my book distribution company closed by the government and having to report to the police. A person who was once affiliated with ASLAN International would later tell investigators that the pastor changed his name to Evan Edwards because he was banned from Turkey and wished to return at a later date under a new identity. So now that leads us to ask the question, why was he banned from Turkey? Right, Sentinel Island facts. The family moved back to Canada about 10 years ago, and Evan Edwards continued to preach, his cousin said. Everything he did was for the church, added the cousin, Alan Harenga. In October of 2018, Edwards bought a 3-bedroom home in New Smyrna Beach, Florida for $332,500. Now, what do you guys think about that price of a home? That's pretty expensive. So apparently this guy already had a little bit of money to work with. So he was just being greedy. Just being greedy and sneaky. So now here it says the family flew from Edmonton to Orlando on June 29th of 2019, according to U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. The Edwards home was in a new community centered around an 18-hole golf course and a country club. The property backs up a human-made period. When they first arrived in New Smyrna Beach, the Edwards had a modest sedan, but they soon upgraded to the Mercedes. They also filled their garage with top-of-the-line exercise equipment, though the inside of the house appeared relatively spare, neighbors said. I asked him, "Are you running a business out of there?" a neighbor recalled. He said, "No, I'm running a ministry." Then the coronavirus hit and crippled the U.S. economy. In April of 2020, Josh Edwards, look at this, he applied for $6 million for the Paycheck Protection Program to cover payroll, rent, and utilities for his family ministry, according to a federal complaint. Now, pay close attention. He only applied for $6 million, but he somehow ended up getting $8 million. You guys see this? The number that they've been talking about is 8 million. He only applied for 6 million. Josh Edwards applied for 6 million. Paycheck Protection Program, a loan to cover payroll, rent, and utilities for his family ministry, according to a federal complaint. So what do you guys think about that? First Home Bank notified Josh Edwards that Aslan International was eligible to receive more money than he had asked for, a total of $8.4 million. Now, here's my question. Have you all ever applied for a loan and been told that you're allowed more money than what you applied for? If you have, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If you have not, give me a thumbs down. Okay. How many of you guys have ever applied for a loan and been granted more money than you applied for. It must be nice. That's nice. Yeah, facts, AB Promotions. I've never had that happen. As a matter of fact, most times when I apply for a loan, they're like, nope. Salty. In May of 2020, the money landed in an account that previously held a balance of $25, according to the complaint. It was dispersed into multiple bank accounts held under the names of all 4 family members, the complaint said. The perpetrators of the fraud attempted to conceal the source, nature, and location of the bank fraud proceeds by moving the proceeds through numerous fraud bank accounts held in different names, the complaint says. Warren Smith, president of the Evangelical Christian Watchdog Ministry Watch, said Aslan's fraud was easily detectable. If you did just a couple Google searches on the name of this organization, the bank would have known that there was nothing in there, Smith said. Tom Zernick, the president of First Home Bank, said in a statement that the documentation submitted by Aslan met the requirements of the PPP loan program at the time. So, I mean, clearly, if it met the requirements, what are they gonna say? He sent it to a green dot account. Ain't that the one that Russell Simmons owns? So now here it says 2 months after the money arrived in the Aslan accounts, the Edwards family tried to purchase a $3.7 million home in new Disney World development called Golden Oaks, the complaint says. Mary Jane Edwards was the only person listed on the purchase contract. But the deal never went through. The authorities seized the $868,000 that was set aside for the down payment on the 4,700 foot square home, the complaint says. After that, the feds move in. Now, you would think that this would start to be the conclusion of this story, but it's not. How do you get away with all this with no consequences? That's the question. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the question. It's not clear when it began, but the federal investigation gained momentum in September of 2020. Agents visited Aslan's international office in Orlando and found that neighboring businesses did not recall seeing any employees there, the complaint said. A review of the website found that the donation links were inactive and sections of text were apparently lifted from other religious sites, according to the complaint. And while the ministry's pandemic loan application said it had a monthly payroll of $2.7 million, it had reported its monthly income as just $5,500 in charity filings to the Canadian government. According to a review of the documents, Canadian authorities, acting as the U.S. request, tracked down Walter Nita, who was listed on the documents as the ministry's accountant who had allegedly signed off on the loans. Nita remained silent and unresponsive as his son told investigators his father and Edwards had known each other for years, but Nita now suffered from dementia and hasn't done any work for Aslan since 2017, the company says. Nita's son did not respond to a request for comment. On September 8th of 2020, federal agents showed up at the Edwards home, but no one answered the door. That night, Evan and Josh Edwards stopped by some of their neighbors' houses to ask if 2 men had come to ask them questions, the complaint says. The answer was yes. The neighbors told them men wanted to know who lived at the Edwards residence, according to the complaint. Armed with a search warrant, swarms of federal agents descended on the Edwards home 9 days later, according to neighbors in the federal complaint. No vehicles or people were there, and the home was cleared out, the complaint says. You see that? It was cleared out like some Breaking Bad shit. It was cleared out like some Breaking Bad shit, y'all. The family Mercedes was stopped later that evening, roughly 150 miles away. A police report says Florida officers pulled over the vehicle after being contacted by the Secret Service, which had been tracking it. All 4 members of the family were taken into custody. They were charged with filing fraudulent immigration documents at the Canadian border. Uh-oh. So now this is a felony, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, that's actually considered a felony. So now here it says the visa forms submitted by the family said that they would be working in the U.S. on behalf of Nita, the dementia-stricken accountant, in the name of Aslan International, according to a criminal complaint. The interview with Nita's son suggested that Nita's signature on the documents was forged, authorities said. But in an unusual turn of events, the charges were dismissed next day after U.S. Customs officer noted that he had misread the interview reports. What could he have possibly misread on them? That's the question, guys. What could he have possibly misread? Nita's son said his ailing father could have signed the documents even though he had no memory of doing so, the customs officer said in an affidavit. The family was released from custody the day after the traffic stop, according to the court documents. The detail of the stop came to light in the court records, but that were made public in December of 2020, generating a burst of attention in Florida. The Edwards did not challenge the seizure of the $8 million in loans, all of which was recovered by the Justice Department. So they got all of that money back, which means that they already had some money. Because remember, they bought that house. The sequence of events is incredibly rare and unusual, said Little, the former federal prosecutor. He said he couldn't understand why the government would go to such lengths to stop and detain the Edwards family, but then seemingly walk away from the case. Now, here's my question. Do you guys think that these people are informants or something like that? They were in Turkey. Do you think these people are like some kind of government informants or something? Tammy said that she thought that the government might be working for them. I mean, to me, this kind of sounds that way. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shouts out to all 6 people that we have watching. If everybody smashes that like button, we will be at 13 likes. So make sure everybody smashes that like button. Snitches, yeah, they might be on some relocation shit. It raises a series of questions about what's going on, he added. The Edwards house remained boarded up and unoccupied for several months after the traffic stop. But to the neighbor's shock, Evan and his son ultimately returned and have been living at the house, according to neighbors. The whereabouts of his wife and daughter are unknown. They just reappeared like nothing ever happened, one neighbor said. You do that, you get caught. How are there no repercussions? That is my question. That's the question that I'm stuck on. How do you get caught and there's no repercussions? Or spies, yeah. And that's facts, AB. That's super facts. So now here it says the neighbor who spoke on the condition of anonymity for privacy reasons said the family's notoriety made for an awkward dynamic on the block. What do you say to them? How are you doing today? Still any millions? He added. Yeah. Yeah. Say it. Why not? Why not say something like that? Last fall, they caught the attention of a ministry watchdog after contributors to ASLAN International received an email from Edwards Family Ministries with a subject line that boasted 948 salvations so far. The email contained a link to a since-deleted YouTube video titled Texas that featured 18 minutes of footage showing Evan Anderson, or I'm sorry, showing Evan Edwards praying over people in a drive-through event, according to the Roy's report. Then Evan Edwards does not seem to have been hiding from the authorities. In June 2021, he met with a notary public in Volusia County to transfer the New Samira Beach home in his name into his name from ASLAN's name, according to local records. The ASLAN International website is no longer active, but the ministry's state records are still up. A couple of months ago, the family changed ASLAN's address from their home in New Samira Beach to the address for a local UPS store in town, according to Florida security filings for the state. On Edwards' block, some neighbors now refer to the family by the nickname the Embezzlers. Man, that's funny as hell. Do you guys like that name for them? What's that family over there's name? Oh, that's the Smith family house. That's the Williams family house. Our neighbors here, these are the Embezzlers. You know what I'm saying? We would really like to see them put in prison, said one person who lives nearby. It's just so sad to see when scammers take money that's intended for people who really need it. Multiple neighbors said Edwards didn't appear sullen or defeated in the wake of the incident, and his faith apparently hadn't been shaken. He told people on the block he believed that divine intervention helped the family navigate their legal issues. According to one neighbor, he put it this way: God saved us. And I wouldn't be surprised if God actually did save him. I wouldn't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if God actually did save him. We'll see. We will see. My man AB Promotion says they good. I'm almost positive they've gained hella interest on the money before they gave it back. Yeah, and I guarantee you that the government didn't make them give back the interest. Usually, though, you have to pay taxes on the interest, or you can have it set up in an account where you're doing pre-tax, post-tax, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I find it fascinating that they're still free. They're not doing jail time. They're still free. They're not doing jail time. And it just is what it is. Like, it's just understood that these people just did this and there's no consequence. That is absolutely wild to me. But gotta ask, is anybody really is anybody really surprised? My answer, nope. I'm not surprised. What's your answer? Let your boy know in the comment section after the stream ends. All right, because it's about to end right now. I appreciate everybody watching. Shouts out to everybody in the comment section that came. Please remember, make sure you guys smash that like button. We got to try to get 100 likes on each video that we do. So help do that. Binge watch the content on this channel. Got a lot of great videos. And I will catch you all on the next video. All right. Peace.